the collapse of the United States writ large is going to happen at such a rate that the Fourth Estate, journalists, the government, the people traditionally tasked with explaining reality to us are not going to be able to anymore. The institutions that are supposed to promote tranquility, those are the biggest perpetrators of terrorism now. Both of the terrorists from New Year's Day served in the Army. They're from the exact same base in North Carolina, Fort Bragg. Fort Bragg is probably their biggest export is domestic terrorism at this point. So many different people that have done terrible things have been stationed at Fort Bragg. And you can just add to that list now. And we have imbecilic leadership class that cannot contextualize this for us, right? They're gonna say, oh, you know, they're gonna blame minority groups, vulnerable minority groups, and that's going to fall on deaf ears because everyone feels unsafe. Everyone can feel that something is fundamentally broken in this country.
This is for y'all MAGA. Y'all MAGA motherfuckers love to say, we are owning the libs. Let's own the libs. So look around. Who's really owning who now, huh? Your farms are folding, soybean fields are dying, corporate giants snatching up bankrupt land while small town families lose everything. You owning anything yet, huh, MAGA? Rural hospitals are what? They're shuttered. Ambulance rides cost more than your rent. Healthcare is double, if not triple, and is completely out of reach. Oil prices climb, meat prices break records, groceries drain your paycheck. Try buying a car or a home today. You'll need a miracle, not a mortgage. In the hospital industry, ICE raids cleared the kitchens, and now restaurants can't even find any workers now. So tell me this, MAGA, was it worth it owning the libs, huh? Was it worth bankrupting your farms to own the libs? Was it worth your family losing health care just to own the libs? You're still up here trying to prove a point with fucking slogans. Because right now, America's at fighting each other right now. And all the while y'all sitting up here fighting each other, billionaires are cashing in. You're not owning no damn libs. You're losing your farms, your jobs, your country. And while you're busy cheering for a slogan and you over here fighting someone because of their skin color, someone else is quietly owning you. Truth has no party. Y'all be well.
I'll say this as simply as I can. Trump make tariff happen. Tariff increase price on American. China no like tariff. Start trade war. China decide no buy American soybean. American soybean farmer go out of business. Trump take money from tariff generated from increased price from American consumer, give to soybean farmer. So business no go under. No give to people paying price, consumer, give to soybean farmer. Also, China still needs soybean. China buys soybean from Argentina. America give money to Argentina. Trump genius businessman?
Y'all notice all these cattle ranchers up in arms today? They are suddenly mad because the beef market has dropped since Trump is talking about some Argentinian beef. Oh, now they're upset. Now they want to talk about save the American farmer, right? See, this is what happens when racism runs the economy instead of logic. They voted for a man who sold them a fantasy that their white skin was going to be economic policy, and that somehow legislating harm and voting for harm towards black, brown, and immigrant communities was going to bring back the good old days, right? When America was great. But here's the gag. Capitalism don't love y'all either, boo-boo. See, Trump is not loyal to the American farmers like y'all thought he was. He is loyal to profit margins. What happened to all that? Oh, he's a businessman. He's a businessman. Y'all were excited about that. And if it's cheaper to import beef from Argentina than to pay y'all's fair rate in Texas, Kansas, Ohio, wherever, then baby, he's gonna sign and seal that deal and watch y'all's family farm fold like a cheap lawn chair at the county fair. See, they thought voting for Trump meant putting others back in their place. All they did was put themselves in a chokehold of their own making. Because hey, when you vote for oppression, baby, you don't get to choose who gets crushed first. That ain't how that works. See, that's what I mean when I say racism is expensive. It costs the worker, it costs the farmer, it costs the nation. See, they didn't realize they were sacrificing their own economy to feed their hatred. And now they're on here crying about losing markets, losing subsidies, losing land. And I can't even muster up a tear. Where was all this worry when it was our communities losing everything? So to all the Make America Great Again farmers, baby, welcome to the America you built. The America you voted for. America where greed don't know color and baby loyalty don't pay. Because Trump ain't y'all savior, baby. He's your landlord. Oh.
Hello everyone, my name is Anthony and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's always amazing having you here, my viewers, my subscribers. You really mean a lot to me. So let's talk about government wastage. A key point our supreme leader campaigned on and has decided to backtrack on it. They introduced Doge under Elon Musk. A man playing golf, touring the world, and holding feast for billionaires, while Americans pick their lives after tornadoes and severe storms. Let's dive into the life of Playboy Trump.
Damn it, Obama and Biden. Because of you all, the United States can't sell their soybean, and farmers in West Virginia can't sell their shit, and they're going to lose their homes. And if it wasn't for Biden and Obama, none of that would happen, because then Trump wouldn't have had any reason to go to war with China. And they wouldn't have any reason to be boycotting. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. And I'm not going to lie. We were talking about how we want to feel bad for the farmers. Because what happens to them happens to us. The problem is they didn't care what was going to happen to us. And it's happening to them first. And you cannot feel sorry for farmers when they done this to themselves. They done this. They endorsed him. They all went out and voted for him, knowing what he did to them his first term. They're like, well, he won't do it again. Okay. Anyway, it's just hard to feel sorry for him. We're all in trouble here. But you know what? They were hell-bent on fucking around and finding out for the second time. And they put us all in this position, not just them. A lot of people, a lot of companies. And a lot of companies are like, oh, well, we messed up. You sure did. Live with it. We have to live with your decision. So enjoy that shit. Take power with it. With your full chest. Remind yourself every morning when your company's going down the shitter, especially if you're a small company. Because they like the big companies. They just don't like the small. Small businesses, they ain't for all that shit. With your full chest, make sure you tell yourself every morning, we done this. Have a great day.
So I'm a blue dot in a red state, and I am worried about our farmers. I own a farm in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I have lots of neighbors that are farmers. So when I found out that our Department of Agriculture just furloughed and suspended 42,000 employees from their department, that's half of the agency. That really hurts our farmers. It puts a halt on new farm loans that they need. It delays their disaster payments that they're expecting. And they're supposed to be getting these really vital crop reports so that they can plan for next year. And they're not getting those because of this government shutdown and discharging half of the Department of Agriculture. Don't get me started on our soybean farmers. They are really hit hard. Some of them are having to take out high interest bank loans just to survive this uncertainty. And now at the same freaking time, 94 million pounds of food that is produced by the U.S. to provide food relief to our country's citizens, okay? Food banks and community programs nationwide. This current administration just canceled that. They're not doing that this year. People are going hungry. And these farmers produce this food for that program. Shouldn't we be feeding the hungry? And then also caring for those farmers who work effortlessly to produce all this food? It bothers me so much that this administration calls themselves Christian, but don't act like it. What farmers do is holy work. They are feeding our country. So this is not just going to be an economic problem. This is an ethical problem. Whether you're outraged by this because of your faith, because Jesus said to feed the poor, or because of your conscience, or just simple decency. We have to protect our farmers and we have to feed our people. And empathy should not be partisan. It is actually the backbone of a healthy democracy. And that helps your family, my family, and impoverished families all over our country. So we should all be caring about this.
We saw a $6,400 real after inflation gain in income for the average family, and that compares with Joe Biden, which was a measly $551. So, Mr. President, you gained 10 times more income for the average family than Joe Biden is because of your policies.
Hey, actual data nerd here. Don't fire me, please, but there's a couple holes in your presentation here. Number one, why did you put a house in the background of this chart? Those types of bells and whistles really cause us to question whether or not the data you're presenting is even valid in the first place. Number two, you're calling back to 2016 through 2020 saying that median income rose during Trump's first term and using that as justification to fire the head of Bureau of Labor Statistics in 2025 because of the job creation numbers that they accurately reported. Like, we can't trust them because the performance was this back then. Those things are not correlated, and it doesn't obscure the fact that you were installed as a loyalist to make charts exactly like this. And my final question, what is medium income? Is Donald Trump a psychic now? We gonna put tariffs on clairvoyance? Okay.
They wanted America to be run like a business by a businessman, and luckily they chose the wrong one. Trump needs to get out of his golden ballroom and face the real issues affecting Americans. Has he ever set foot in a grocery store and shopped? I doubt it.
For the past few days, this clip of this lady named Laura Anderson has been going absolutely viral across Miami, Florida, right? Because she is running for mayor here in Miami, and local journalists, I believe it was Local 10 News, are interviewing her about her statements in the past, idolizing Fidel Castro, saying that she wants to model that style of government here in Miami, toda esa basura, right? And she stands by those comments. She says that she doesn't argue with anyone in good faith who doesn't see all the great things Fidel did, todo eso, no? And those comments are obviously wrong because Fidel Castro was a psychotic, bloodthirsty dictator that has Cuba still, after almost 70 years, submerged in poverty and endless oppression, right? But what gets me is the hypocrisy of La Pila de Miami MAGA Latinos that we have here in this town. Because there's all this outrage, by all these creators that are MAGA here in Miami, right? Even though they don't make that kind of content, we all know they love Trump still to this day, right? So they make all this content, outraged about this topic, about this lady that realistically everyone knows in Miami, Florida, once you make those comments, you are not going to win anything, any position in local office. She's someone insignificant. If Local 10 wouldn't have interviewed her, no one would know she exists. And people are saying, communism is on the rise. You see, Miami, be careful, communism is on the rise. But my question is, where is the outrage of all these Miami MAGA Latinos with everything Donald Trump is currently doing actively to destroy this country? Where's all your outrage with everything Donald Trump is currently doing with immigration to our own people, to Latinos, legalizing racial profiling in this country? Where is your outrage for how they're tearing families apart, for how ICE is unlawfully detaining people that are U.S. citizens, green card holders, people that have pending asylum applications? Where's your outrage about any of those things? Here's a good one. Where's your outrage about the economy? Porque el año pasado, ¿quién los aguantaba? With, FJB, let's go Brandon, bro. Let's go protest outside Versailles. Where's your outrage about the price of eggs now? About gas? About a gallon of milk? All the things you were so pressed about, right? Where's that outrage now? Where's the outrage about the fact that this guy is exactly like the dictators you fled? Today, in an interview by the media, he was saying that he would not mind having a third term in office, despite the fact that that's barred by the 22nd Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Where is your outrage for how this guy is destroying the economy further, also with tariffs? Where is your outrage for how he's destroying education in this country, destroying healthcare that's already in a really bad state right now, and so many other things, the environment, an endless list? The answer is you have none, because many of you in Miami, despite the fact that this guy is destroying our country, continue to support Donald Trump. Many people have had their family members deported that I know, and they're like, it was a sacrifice that had to be made. I support Donald Trump.
Hey, I got some better news for you than you might expect. I was making a pot of borscht for dinner. My wife loves borscht, and as I was doing this, I was thinking about how Pete Hegseth's loyalty plan for the news agencies of America completely failed. Pete Hegseth was pushing a loyalty pledge to the mainstream news outlets of America, saying, hey, if you want to have news clearance to access the Pentagon's briefing room, you have to say that you're going to report on issues the way we want you to. It very closely mirrors something in Germany called the Schriftleitergesetz, which means editor's law. Under the Schriftleitergesetz, you had to prove that everyone working at your publication was of Aryan descent and that they were going to write stories that adhered to what the Ministry of Propaganda told them to. The main difference here is that pretty much every single major news company in the United States has told Pete Hegseth, no, go pound sand, we're not signing that thing. And I need you to understand how damaging of a blow that is to the Maga Reich and its plans. See, it's not enough to control a paramilitary police force like the Fridge Rats if you want to control a nation like America. You have to control the media and the military as well. Because if you don't control the military, then the second you try to assert dictatorial authority, they're going to overthrow you. Even worse, if you don't have the loyalty of the press, they're going to keep reporting on the stories that convince people to turn against you. Oh, Cactus, it was probably only ABC, CBS, the people who already hate him. No, Fox News and Newsmax turned down this loyalty pledge. Newsmax is one of the most hard-right news publications in the entire world. They looked at that loyalty pledge and said, haha, absolutely not. Between this and how desperate they are to get the approval of the military for anything right now, these are obvious signs that they are panicked. These are obvious signs that they are scrambling for power and trying to get it wherever they can. Even that thing where they're trying to get the Supreme Court to overturn the Voting Rights Act so they can gerrymander everything could backfire on them. Once you get rid of those gerrymandering constraints and draw up all the districts the way you want them, all it takes is your party doing one thing really wrong and everything turns into a 6-point advantage for your opponent. Anyway, I gotta check the potatoes. They're almost ready to go in the borscht. Have a good night.
Oh my God, they know. And they know they can't stop it. I've known this was coming for 10 years, but until now I didn't realize there was a name for it. It's the thing that makes us say, is it just me or are there more crazies than ever before? The Trump spike in racism, sexism, and hate, it's the emotional foundation for the entire Make America Great Again movement. That nostalgia for when life in America was simpler and paler. But as soon as we began addressing it, boom. Extinction burst. This term is why I love science so much. You can take an idea from one field, like psychology, for example, and apply it to another field, like political science, and the principles still apply. Extinction burst is actually really simple. It's when you have a behavior and a reward, and you withdraw the reward in order to change the behavior. When you do that, usually to change an undesirable behavior, the behavior itself increases in frequency and intensity for a short period of time, until ultimately the subject changes the behavior, and then that behavior goes extinct. This is like you're at the store and you're swiping your credit card and it doesn't work, and so then you swipe your credit card like 15 more times until you're so angry you're freaking out and you're about to scream an F-bomb in the middle of Toys R Us, and then you say, I'll just pay with cash. Swiping is the behavior and the payment is the reward. So when the swiping doesn't work and you don't get the reward you need, you get madder and madder and you try it more and more until you change the behavior, which then results in the extinction of the original behavior. Now, extinction burst at the national level is much slower, but in this case, we actually know very clearly what triggered it. It was Obama's election in 2008. Sarah Palin, the Tea Party movement, the birther movement, and ultimately MAGA. It is a 10-year tsunami of rage in the face of inevitable extinction. This is why Republicans are still so angry. They know Trump winning can't stop it, and they know Trump in office can't stop it. They can feel the inevitable extinction of their own terrible beliefs. At this point, the only thing that'll stop it is if we let up. If you stop interfering with that undesirable behavior, it will go back to normal. So no, you're not crazy. Yes, you are doing the right thing, and yes, if you persevere, the extinction burst will end.
So thank you to everyone who has watched this video to the end. I really appreciate you, and you mean a lot to me. So let's end this conversation, because the problems we are really facing as Americans are dire. Trump has done nothing but lie. Promises he made are all lies. He's ruining our country. Look at what he's done, and it's only months in. He needs to be kicked out of office. How much more damage are they going to allow him to do? I don't care really that the government cuts funding to children cancer research entirely, because I'm not a child and I don't have cancer. I also don't care that the government gets SNAP benefits by billions. of dollars because I'm not on food stamps. I also don't care the government cut Medicaid by billions of dollars because I have private insurance and I don't use Medicaid. I don't care that the government has allowed guns into schools because something bad hasn't happened to my children. I don't care that the government is ripping families apart because of the color of their skin, because that's not happening to my family. That's how it means when you support the current administration. Because what's happening is very real and very scary. So what's next? That's a question that you can answer only at the ballots. The silent majority is on the silence as our country is being ruined. The silent majority doesn't get out to vote during the election. And we have midterms in the next year. This is a wake-up call. So what I usually say, stay blue, vote blue, watch blue, listen blue, and until the next video, thank you for your attention to this matter.